This particular chart here shows you the relationship between the organs and the nervous system and the spine. Each one of these buttons corresponds with a different part of the spine, with these upper buttons here being part of the cervical spine, which is the neck. These buttons in here correspond with the middle back area, which is called the thoracic spine, and these lower buttons correspond with the lower part of the spine called the lumbar spine and the pelvis. And each button shows you how the different nerves and the different parts of the spine relate to the organs. So as an example, if I press on the T5 area, which is the vertebrae right between the shoulder blades, you can see there how the organ, the stomach, is lighting up on the right side, and then on the left side you can see how the muscles that go between the shoulder blades are lighting up. So this illustrates the relationship between the spine, how it affects the organs, and how it affects the muscles. Interestingly, if we look at the top button here, which is the top vertebrae, first vertebrae in the spine, which is called the atlas, and we press that button, you notice there how all the organs are lighting up, and the areas, particularly in the head, for the muscles and the skull, are lighting up. This illustrates the importance of the top vertebrae, which is the first cervical vertebrae. When that vertebrae goes out of position and presses on the nerves and the spinal cord, the effects are felt pretty much throughout the spine, and the reason for that is because the first cervical, also called the atlas, is the first vertebrae that the spinal cord first comes out of when it leaves the skull and exits from the brainstem. So if you've got pressure at the top, that's going to have an effect felt throughout every organ in the body, and that's one of the reasons why, regardless of the problem that the patient comes in with, we always check that atlas vertebrae, because the effects can be felt throughout the spine. It's also one of the reasons why a fracture or an injury to the upper cervical area can be so devastating, because the paralysis effects can be felt pretty much from C1 on down, and often a break in the first cervical that affects the spinal cord is going to make it impossible for the person to breathe on their own. If you look at these lower ones, these are the lumbar vertebrae, and if we press on a very common area that people also present with, which is the bottom vertebrae, L5, you can see the effects of that. L5 innervates the legs, sciatic nerve, which goes down into the legs, and also into the abdominal organs, namely the large intestine in the female, the uterus and the ovaries and the bladder, and in the male, the prostate and the testes. Oftentimes, if that vertebrae is badly malpositioned or out of place, it can actually affect bladder control, bowels, as well as in women create female problems as well. And then if we look at a little bit higher up in the T12 area, which is right between the middle to lower back and the lower back area, which is this area in here, you can see how on the right side the kidneys are lighting up, and on the left side the muscles in the middle back are lighting up as well. So that pretty much shows you a little more about the relationship between the organs and the spine, and this is one of the reasons why oftentimes as we improve the function of the spinal column, we'll also improve the function in the nerves. One other area of interest is called T1, which is right at the bottom of the neck. That's the vertebrae that's right at the base of the neck between the lower part of the neck and the upper part of the upper back. And that's a very important one. That is checked pretty much on everybody at every visit as well. The reason that that's so important is that it has an effect on the heart and the heart rhythm, as well as the arms. And that's one of the reasons why, if a person's having heart problems, they'll often feel it in that left arm as well. So this particular model here shows you the relationship, once again, between the spine, the different organ systems, the muscles, and how that's interrelated. And that's one of the reasons also why chiropractic is such a holistic, drugless health approach, because as we improve spinal function, we also improve body function.